Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Monday. I hope everybody is doing great. I've had a full weekend, so I'm on the slow side this morning. I just want to be upfront and vulnerable about this. However, I love doing my Happy Mondays. I love doing this and connecting with you every Monday morning. So bear with me, we're doing it. It's just, if you think there's something different about me, you're right. Anyway, I even made a list. If you know me at all, you'll think it's funny because, well, I make lists a lot. And on that one, I want to start by saying thank you. I mean, a huge thank you. You guys have been amazing when it comes to supporting my work, and all those words of encouragement I've been getting in the past few months. I've been doing this for a while, but really in the past few months, everybody has been so on board and so absolutely amazing. And I absolutely love every single one of your feedbacks, even the constructive ones, because it really helps me. It helps me a lot. I want to be able to give you the information that's going to help you. So if I don't get feedback, sometimes I'm not sure what to talk about. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all the support. The support for my book has been amazing. Thank you so much to every single one of you. I really appreciate it. I mean that. On a technical note, my Happy Mondays are going to 9 a.m. And the reason for it is that I noticed more of you are awake and it's alive. So I want as many people at the party as possible. If you're there and watching, give me a high five or send me an emoji. I love that. Let me know how you're feeling this morning. So we're going to do more of a Happy Mondays at 9 a.m. rather than when I used to do it at 8. I appreciate not everybody gets up as early as I do. Now, what we're going to talk about today, that's a funny one. So if you saw the title, hi. If you saw the title, it's a funny one, but it's actually extremely profound. And it's one of the most relevant thing that I've been talking about and developing in the past year. And the reason why I mentioned the butter knife, Netflix, and the toilet seat, for people familiar with the divorce rate, the toilet seat, up or down, used to be like the #1 cause of divorce, right? That's amazing. It's like put the toilet seat up or put it down, and that is going to be the reason why people get a divorce. That's insane. And the reason for it is that it was not about the toilet seat. And I'm going to get on that in a second. Netflix became the most recent reason for divorce. When people were asking why you're divorcing, it's because when Netflix, you were still signing up, you remember that? When you were still signing up to receive the DVDs at home, and you can still do it, it was before they reorganized that thing. But you had that queue, correct? You had the queue of movies that were getting to your home, and sometimes a couple would have a joint account, which makes sense, and they would change the queue of a movie that was next to come. And that became a really big source of friction and challenge for some couples. And Netflix became, I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's just because it wasn't about Netflix. But then Netflix became a new reason for divorce, for discord, for tension, for arguments. The butter knife. So if you hang out with me long enough, at some point I'm going to say in conversation, and usually it's because I have a very close friend in the arena, and I'll say it's not about the butter knife, and they get it because they know that story. The story of a butter knife is, I was at a friend's house an evening, and we had decided to hang out and prepare dinner. And then my friend asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to play some music? Do you want anything going on? I was like, yeah, I think blues would be nice. I love blues. And I'll get started on dinner. And if you want to pick some blues music, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm preparing dinner. And the next thing I hear is not blues music. It's a raging crowd. It's a raging crowd of people yelling and shouting, and I'm expecting blues music, and the next thing I hear is just all this discord and argument. And I was feeling a little bit disrupted and a little bit assaulted by the noise, and I didn't say anything. It's like, oh, that's no big deal, you know, the music is going to be playing in a minute, so I'll just let it go. And I didn't say anything. And then it just kept happening, and it was actually a political rally, and people were very passionate. They were yelling and shouting. And then it just really got too much for me. And instead of, turning around to my friend and say, hey, this is really hard for me to hear, would you mind watching it later, and can we play some music? I would really like that. So instead of saying that, I turned around and said, hey, no, I don't want to do this. I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. And I was very abrupt about it. And my friend just stopped it and started to play the music. And then we get to the table, we set the table, and I'm French, so we have butter. And then I'm very precise about the silverware. So there is a butter knife for the butter. And then we sit down, getting to dinner, and my friend takes his silverware and the one that's been already in the food, and then he takes the knife with food on it and then puts it in the butter. And I turn around and say, do you want another butter knife? And he got mad at me. He had really a very big emotional reaction. I was like, wow, well, that doesn't make sense to me. And I didn't say anything. I was trying to process it. And then the emotion was running high, and it's like, crap, it's going to ruin the dinner. And the fact of the matter, and we talked about it, and it was deflated, and we figured it out. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't about the butter knife. My friend didn't have an emotional reaction because I told him about a butter knife. He had an emotional reaction because he really wanted to see that political rally, and he was really interested in that. And it was last year, so, a lot of emotions happening, a lot of passion taking place. And it wasn't about the butter knife. He wanted to feel seen. He wanted to feel that I was giving him space to really explore and look at that rally, and not turn around. And I had an emotional reaction about it too, so that didn't help. He would have preferred for me to make a request instead of me cutting him off. It's like, don't do that. So it wasn't about the butter knife. It was about the lack of awareness of a situation. It was my lack of awareness. And then it just escalated. So it's not about Netflix, and it's not about the seat in the toilet, and it's not about the butter knife. It is about something much deeper than that. And at the very foundation, it is about that connection. It is about that awareness. That's why I talk about awareness so much. That's why I have a 21-day awareness challenge on my website for the ones that want to do it, is because that's where it starts. And then also having that awareness of our emotions. And that's a hard one. I mean, if you want to tackle a book and read Emotional Intelligence, go for it. It was extremely helpful, having that awareness of our emotions. Because when I was cooking and I was expecting the music, and instead that I heard the discord and the voices and the shouting, I had paused and realized that, wow, I'm being emotionally disrupted. This is re-triggering for me. I would have been able to react differently. And my friend wouldn't have felt like I wasn't paying attention, I didn't appreciate what was needed for him, for me to be able to appreciate his needs. So it's a big Happy Monday load that I'm giving you today, because it is about awareness, and it is about awareness of our feelings. It is about awareness of our environment, what's going on around us. And it is about managing our emotions in a way that we are staying connected. What happened that night at dinner, there was a disconnect because we did not acknowledge our emotions. And that's a tough one, because some people don't want to acknowledge for themselves or to others that we're being weak and we're being frustrated and we're feeling angry. I'm not an anger person. I don't like anger. I don't like to generate it. I want to stay away from it. I grew up around a lot of abuse and a lot of shouting and anger, and I stay away from it as much as possible. That being said, anger is a natural feeling. So it's okay to experience it as long as we know we're experiencing it, and as long as we're not projecting it on others. That's the big thing. It's not because we're angry or sad or distressed that we have to project that onto others. Ideally. So that's a big loaded Happy Monday. That being said, that's been one of the most productive thing that I've done in the past year, is to really appreciate, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and how do I not project that onto others? How do I process this in a way that I'm going to stay connected to myself, giving me the self-compassion to experience whatever it is I'm experiencing, because emotions are valid and feelings are valid. And how do I not project that onto others? There you go. That's your work for the week if you want to tackle that one. And it's a work in progress. We're never perfect about it. We never totally arrive. It's always a work in progress. But it starts with awareness. So if you want to tackle that this week, go for it. If you need help, I'm here. And if you want to check out my other Happy Monday videos, I upload them on YouTube, so you don't have to scroll down on Facebook to try to figure out what I said last week or a month ago. You can just go to my YouTube channel and get everything you need out there. So if you want me to tackle a certain subject, just comment below, let me know what you think, and then until next week, reach for the greatest version of yourself. You can do it. Bye-bye.